I want to thank the chairman. I want to thank the ranking member for really having this hearing today. But I want to touch upon an important issue. And Mr. Irwin, I know St. Albans well. I spent a lot of time in West Virginia over the years. And one of the things that I know it's important to West Virginia, but it's very important to my home state of Ohio, which is the historic tax credit. So before I get started on my questions, I do want to highlight this one issue, and I hope in the future we can have a hearing to have an opportunity to discuss where perhaps provisions in the TCJA needs to be revisited. Senator Graham, great to be with you. Last time I saw you speak in any one of these bodies, I was a staffer out there, and so it's an honor to actually be asking you a question later today. As part of this legislation, the historic tax credit was modified such that the credit actually must be spread over a 5-year period of time. I cannot find any policy justification for this modification other than the revenue constraints that were required in the reconciliation process. The impact of the change to 5 years at the project level results in either a lower overall equity investment or a higher cost of capital. As projects must be financed, the equity investment over 5 years, receiving the entire equity investment in just 1 year. Increased interest rates, as we highlighted earlier, have only compounded this problem, while other challenges include competing credits, such as the green energy incentives, and also the single-year credits. Developers, investors, communities that work to revitalize these blighted buildings, and for those of you who don't know, I represent about 65% of the city of Columbus. So we have had some of these projects that took credit for, or got some credit from this, the Atlas Building, the original skyscraper in the skyline of Columbus, Ohio, the Levesque Tower, which sits in the district, and nearly 3 dozen other projects across Ohio. Hundreds more across the nation are facing projects delays. In fact, they are facing cancellations. And I think, quite frankly, our communities deserve a lot better. I, along with my dear friend on the other side of the aisle, Congressman Schneider, have introduced a bipartisan piece of legislation to return the historic tax credit back to the single-year credit. And I ask all my colleagues to support this proven tax credit that has been vital for rejuvenating historic structures to help address the ongoing housing shortage and, of course, just the overall development. So my question, and Senator, it's an honor for me to actually ask you a question. I watched your career as a young staffer, and again, I'm really excited to ask you this question. Columbus, Ohio, where I live, is rapidly expanding. In fact, the Bank of America Institute recently released a study suggesting that Columbus, in fact, was one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. Many of the corporations have been able to expand, hire new employees because of the policies that were included in TGCA. Do you believe that it is right that corporations simply received a huge tax cut while it's true corporate rate was reduced from 35% to 21%? But didn't we also broaden the base so that, yes, these jobs created with the companies are now paying a lower rate, but on a much higher slice of that income? You've got a minute, 30 seconds, Senator.
I have a bad habit of running over, but since my wife is waiting for me outside, I'm going to be quick.
Good deal.
Look, anytime you have the highest corporate tax rate in the world, you are disadvantaging every company that operates in your country. And so the movement from 35 to 21 was a no-brainer. It's something we should have never gotten in the position that we had the highest corporate tax rate in the world. Secondly, we had this system where when companies earned money abroad, they kept it abroad. Because why would you bring it back here to be taxed? And by simply passing the 2017 tax bill and letting people bring the money back, we brought as much as $3 trillion back to America to invest in Columbus, Ohio. So I think clearly, I don't understand how you can debate that the point that it made sense to cut the corporate tax rate from the highest level in the world to a level that is in the middle, right in the middle of developed nations. And then finally, you got You got all these people that don't think they're paying the corporate tax rate who are.
Senator, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your indulgence, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Byer.